Hey guys, and welcome back to From the Stands. My name's Courtney.
And my name's Kendall.
And we're so excited to be with you today. We actually got a lot of requests for this episode, and we kind of teased it last week. It's all about hot takes, but before we get to that point the purpose of this, we wanted to share stuff that's going on in the sports world. So,
NBA playoffs. As of right now, as of recording this episode, we have the Celtics, the Thunder, the Pacers, and why can't I remember the other team? There's 4 teams that have already clinched. Oh, the Cavaliers. They've clinched their spot into the next round, which is exciting. Depending on how the game goes tonight, if the Lakers lose, then they're out. If they don't, then they move to game 6, I think. So kind of exciting, starting to get there. But yeah, that's the NBA playoffs.
That's super hype. Kind of going along the same path, I guess. Same route, different sport, but with the NHL playoffs, we've got some teams clinched for round 2. That's the Florida Panthers, the Washington Capitals, the Carolina Hurricanes, and then Toronto could clinch a spot, Vegas, Edmonton, and Dallas if they win the next game. And then we're just into round 2. And then we're not quite to the finals yet, but kind of fun. And yeah, I don't know. They're all really good teams, obviously, if they've made it this far, but excited to see who takes home the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Should be exciting. And then I guess baseball is still baseball. People are doing great. There are some teams are starting to hit their 20 wins. I know at least the Mets have, and I think the Padres have at least. Mm-hmm. There's probably some more teams, but I'd have to look. The Yankees have not yet, but it's okay. We're fine. But that's baseball. And I guess kind of leading into, hot takes, but also the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. I think there's definitely some interesting stuff. I think Cam Ward is a great first overall pick. I think he's going to do some really good things for Tennessee. Yes. I think the Eagles had some fantastic. I think their defense is about to get even scarier, which I'm all here for. Then kind of the big story is Shador not getting drafted until I think it was round 6. So I can't remember, to the Browns. My hot take is I think that story took up a lot of airspace and did not give players who did get drafted in the first round and just all the other players the airtime that they deserved. Poor Cam Ward, he was first overall, which is huge. Yeah. But the whole story was
why wasn't it Shador?
Yeah. Why isn't Shador drafted yet? Why isn't Shador drafted yet? Why did he get drafted this late? And so it's kind of just one of those things that I'm I feel like there should have been more hype for.
Yeah.
I think it was Travis Hunter who I think went second. But then after that, I'm I couldn't even tell you some of those other people because it all just was Shador. So I did feel kind of bad for the guy, but I don't know, there's a lot of politics. Well, I guess maybe not politics, but I feel like there's a lot that went into it that I don't fully know, but I think it's kind of silly.
I will say my favorite thing was the reels and the memes.
Yeah, those are good.
They're every GM was saying that, what was it? Shador's interviews were just horrible, and it would have the clip of I don't even know, just an interview, and they're what do you think of this? And the little boy's wouldn't you like to know, other boy, or whatever. I thought that was pretty funny. I do feel bad for him because all last season they're you're gonna get this is where you're gonna go, and it just obviously didn't happen. So I'm sure there was a moment of relief, okay, yes, I am getting signed, I am going to the NFL, but just he's a talented player.
Yeah.
There's a reason He was in the draft. There's a reason he got picked. He'll do a lot of good for the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns quarterback room is quite unique. I am very interested to see how that all goes. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting. I've never kept an eye on the Browns, but I might with a lot of other people this next season.
No joke. I'm interested to see who ends up as QB1. Because, honestly, at this point, I'm not sure who it would be. So,
yeah. No. I guess with that, we, posted on our socials. Give us your hot takes. We got some hot takes. We've put our own hot takes in there. We just did some research, so hopefully find a hot take that you like. If you don't have one, hopefully this is when you find one. And if we missed any, or not missed, if we miss any, let us know. We'd still love to have this conversation going.
Maybe we'll have some part 2, 3, 4, 5, who knows?
Yeah.
That's what we're all here for.
Yeah. Ask and we'll hopefully deliver. So, with that being said, where should we start?
I guess kind of leading in from the NFL draft, because one of the interesting thing about Shedeur and everything is where he got drafted. He's now going to be making less money in the NFL than if he had spent one more year at Colorado because of NIL and everything.
That's true.
Just some of my thoughts. I feel like the NIL and the transfer portal honestly have kind of messed up college sports.
For sure.
With that being said, I'll give the caveat. I do think players should get paid. I think that is important.
Yes.
But I think it now has become way too much of a money grab. I think it's kind of crushing a lot of programs. You aren't being able to have players that get fully developed. They don't get all that, all the skills. Programs are kind of failing. They're kind of one and done spots. It's messing with conferences. Schools that are I'm trying to think of lower. If they aren't Power 5, if they aren't in a Power 5 conference, then they're kind of getting screwed over. If they have one good player, they're gonna get transferred and picked up by another school pretty quick.
That's true.
And it's all just kind of about the money, which I think is so dumb.
Yeah. We talked about it with Sam last week, right?
Maybe.
It was either on the podcast or off the podcast, but I do remember talking about it with Sam, and it's just the whole pay to play.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yes, I do agree, it shouldn't be oh yeah, I'm doing this for free, it's like an internship, no, this is literally their career, but also, how do I put this lightly in a way that a fan could say, but also, you're not, well, might get canceled for this, there is a lot of room for improvement, and what you're getting needs to reflect that. And sometimes when they get more money but they don't perform to what their deal is and what the contract says, it's a little questionable. And obviously I've never signed an NIL. I've never signed a contract other than housing and to lease out a car. Nothing huge that, these players are under a lot of stress for, because, more money you get, the more playing time. And really, if you want to make it, you have to have playing time. So it's just a whole thing, but I kind of agree with the hot take that, the NIL and the transfer portal has ruined college sports.
And even, the transfer portal, I think it's just, it's basically, you have, every college athlete is now, a free agent, which is, crazy, because now, they can move as many times as they want. They can, negotiate some crazy deals. I mean, colleges can say no. We've seen that. We saw that with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Them saying no to that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it is just honestly kind of ruining it all, because now, you're having players that only care about money. They coaches aren't able to sit there and create a team, create an environment for, like, oh, we know this school is an environment of da-da-da-da-da-da. It's now, like, oh, like, every year, you never know what you're going to get.
No.
And it's just kind of sad. And like I said, it's hard, even as fans, because then you're like, do I even, like, especially with NIL, you're like, oh, like, now I can start buying their jerseys and stuff and they get money. But if they're only here for, like, 1 year, you're like, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with it? And, like, now you're like, I feel like a trader wearing this jersey because they traded, like, they betrayed us or whatever. But, I don't know. That's kind of my hot take. I think it was Coach Saban that he talked about it first. And, I mean, despite his allegiance, I do agree a lot.
He's great with game day.
Mm-hmm.
He's great with game day. He did a wonder for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He is a very talented man, and I agree. Like,
like he knows his stuff.
He does, and I think, not saying that he's like the god of sports, of college ball, but I think when he speaks, we should listen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just Nick Saban, if you're listening to this,
we agree with you.
We agree with you.
So I am very interested just to see where it goes and kind of how the NCAA starts trying to handle it. Because I think it's very interesting. Because then you might start seeing players that are going to stay in college longer for money than go into, like, the professionals. And then,
like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Like, when do you set the boundary and when do you draw that line?
Mm-hmm.
Because,
yeah. So, if you have thoughts on the NIL and transfer portal, send us a DM or comment on whatever. Who knows?
On whatever platform you're listening to. I've been struggling all day. Whatever platform you're listening on, just leave a comment. Send us a DM, like Kendall was saying. We want to hear your thoughts on this because, as you can tell, we have very many thoughts on this. Yeah, let's do. This is probably my favorite one.
Which I feel like I don't have much to say about this one because I actually haven't watched it.
It's about hockey, and playoff hockey is more exciting than the Super Bowl. I agree for many different reasons. The Super Bowl, there's only 2 teams playing, but when it's playoff hockey, like, let's see. I just don't want to get my facts absolutely wrong. There's more than 2 teams playing, right? It's like the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You have 16 teams in the first round, then it goes down to a whopping, I can't do math, 8? And then it keeps going down to 4, and then 2. And instead of, like, on Super Bowl Sunday, like, it's a very distinct thing, but then playoff hockey, it's this time of year. It's the same time of year, but there's games going on almost every day, every other day, and it's just super fast, upbeat. You don't fight. You could fight, but the players mostly do the fighting, and the energy is just alive every single game. So I agree with this hot take.
I feel like it probably could be said also for, like, playoff basketball is more exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like playoffs because it is a different breed.
Yeah.
It's tricky because NFL has playoffs, but because every game is so important, like, of the season, I feel like there isn't, like, an added level. There might be, like, a little bit of one, but there isn't, like, oh, like, this style, like the NBA and probably hockey, like, how they play in regular season versus playoff season, like, very different, like, a lot more fast-paced, like, aggressive, whereas in NFL, I feel like you don't see that as much because every game is played because it's so, like, important. But, yeah, I do think playoffs, honestly, are just more exciting.
They're just so fun. Like, it feels like the family is scattered during regular season, playoff, everybody's there. And that's just, like, oh my goodness, that's to say with all sports, I would say. It's just very uniting feeling, which is super fun. There was one that I wanted to add to this one. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, there were two. Just real quick, kind of funny hot takes, but fighting in hockey should have WWE style intros. I think that would be so fun. Just like, yeah, give me the stats of this player that's swinging.
They have to have, like, their theme song. That's my favorite part. I grew up watching WWE all the time, and just you, like, hear this song playing, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person's coming out right now. Like, it's about to go down.
I think it would make the environment go way up. Like, it's already high in hockey. I've never been to a hockey playoff game in person, but I have been to a regular season game in person, and the environment was pretty high, and just, like, everything. I think it could elevate the experience. The other one is definitely a hot take, and it is that the Stanley Cup is harder to win than any other trophy in professional sports. That's a very hot take. That's a very big hot take, and I don't know a lot about the other sports to make that answer. So maybe we just marinate on it. And if we do a part 2, we could come back to it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a very interesting... That's a very bold claim because all sports are different from each other. So, like, how could you compare? Well, someone did. And they shared that hot take with us. I kind of want to hear their take on that hot take.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, sorry, just like word vomited.
No, I love it.
But, what's another?
So I guess there's a huge debate with MJ, Michael Jordan, and LeBron.
What? That's crazy.
So obviously we know our good friend Sam loves LeBron.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people that love LeBron. And I do think LeBron is cool. I think the fact that he has played for 22 seasons is impressive.
Yeah.
He was drafted right out of high school. He didn't go play in college.
That can happen.
And not for, you don't, like, see it anymore. I can't remember if there's, like, some sort of rule now. But, yeah, he was drafted just right from high school.
That's insane.
So, very cool. I think, though, that MJ's better. I think it's also, it's so tricky to compare them. Especially, so LeBron's played 22 seasons. Michael played 15 seasons.
Okay.
One thing that does annoy me is when people are like, and I personally think Michael Jordan is better. But people will be like, oh, but LeBron has the scoring record and stuff. He's played 22 seasons. I would sure hope he has the scoring record. If he didn't, I would be very disappointed. But you also if you start comparing them, at the end of Michael's 15 seasons and at the end of 15 seasons of LeBron, Michael held the highest scoring points. I think if Michael played as many seasons as LeBron, he would still hold the scoring record. Which, it wasn't, let me clarify. The person that held the record before LeBron was Kareem. It wasn't Michael.
Okay. That's right.
And he played, I think it was 20 seasons. So he kind of broke it around his 20th season. So it kind of worked out. But that's my hot take. I feel like when people are like, oh, like, Michael has more of this and this and this. I'm like, well, yeah, he's played 22 seasons. I would sure hope he's had, like, more playoff appearances and all this stuff because he's playing for 22 seasons.
Yeah, like, there should be proof why he's still in the league.
Yeah. Like, if he was not having all of these big things happen, he shouldn't be playing. But he is. But like I said, I respect LeBron. But do I think he is better than Michael? No. It's also tricky to compare them because the NBA has fundamentally changed so much in the past, like, 40, 50 years, where I feel like the NBA now is more of an offensive game and less defensive, where, like, when Michael played, their defense was huge. Like, I watched a documentary on, it was the Detroit Pistons. There's a team who played around the time that Michael played. Like, they played each other. And they were known to be just brutal. Like, they were, like, throwing punches. Like, they were a very, very aggressive team. And they were known for it, where I feel like if that happened in the NBA now, like, it just wouldn't, because it's now moved mostly to offensive. And also, I think the NBA has gone a little soft. That's a hot take.
Hey, it's a good take.
Yeah, it's a good take. But I think the NBA was a lot more aggressive in defense, which I kind of am sad that it's changed like that.
Yeah.
Part of it, I love Steph Curry a lot. But he's kind of now set that standard of, like, a three-pointer, like, long three-pointers, to where, like, that's the standard now, where you can just move completely to a three-point team. Like, obviously still inside, but it changes the game to where it's just offense, and it makes me kind of sad, because I kind of like some really cool defensive plays.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that. That's why you see it a lot more in college.
Yeah.
And I think that's why college basketball is better than NBA. So that was a lot of talking for me, but that's my hot take. I think MJ is better.
And college is better. MJ and college.
Yeah. But me saying MJ is better is not saying LeBron is bad. I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, like...
That's so fair.
I'm like, I think LeBron would be a second.
Yeah. Just because we say one is better does not make the other the worst in the league.
Mm-hmm. So...
Sometimes it does. No, just kidding. No, that's so fair. Trying to think. I'm not going to say that one.
Yeah, but...
Sorry, everyone. I asked people at work, I said, I need your hot takes, and they delivered. Some of them very controversial, and this is not a controversial one. We're just sharing hot takes, you know? One, along with basketball, that I thought was kind of silly, funny, and goofy, was if Shaq was skinny, he'd be the GOAT.
Yeah, and if he could actually...
do free throws?
Yeah. Yeah. He probably could do great things if he actually made his free throws. So.
And Shaq, if you're, for whatever reason, listening to this, you're amazing. We love you. Biggest fans.
I would love to meet Shaq.
No, literally.
Like, hi, Shaq.
I think he would be the funnest, chillest, coolest, calmest player to meet.
Yeah. I'd want him as my uncle or something.
Literally. I could see him doing something... I could see him, like, I've met him. No. I could see him doing something, like, goofy. Like, oh my goodness, like, try to flip it to be like, oh, you're the well-known one. He's like, what, me, you? And it's like, you don't know who I am. So, Shaq, let's make this happen. This could be iconic.
Come be our friends.
We have guests on. That would be so fun.
We have a giant seat just for you.
Your own personal beanbag. Kind of fun. But, yeah. So, I mean, Shaq is already the GOAT. I love him. He's like a big teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of fun. We could do, like, a couple, like, BYU-related ones, kind of. BYU alumni-related ones.
Yeah.
Should we start with this guy?
Yeah. Okay. So, definitely, Zach Wilson has a lot of controversy. I personally don't think he's that bad. No. I think he kind of was set up for failure going to the Jets. Yeah. The New York Jets are terrible.
And they had, what's his bucket, Aaron Rodgers?
They did after his first year, yeah.
Yeah.
Their O-line is not great. They're terrible at protecting the quarterback, so he was taking stats just, like, all the time. I personally just don't think he was set up for success. I don't think, especially in his rookie year, I think he kind of got humbled and it would be better now. But he didn't take a lot of accountability for his loss and his terribleness. And the whole mom thing did not put him in the greatest lighting.
Nope.
So that didn't help his public figure-ness. But I think if he got another chance, he actually would not do that bad. I think he actually could be really good.
Yeah.
But he needs a good O-line. And like I said, I feel like, maybe this is another hot take, I think going to the Jets is almost a death sentence for your career. Because the Jets are terrible.
Yeah, no. That's honestly... That's so valid, though.
So, we'll see. The Jets need better management or to shake out some sort of curse. But,
Sorry, I just found a hot take that I don't agree with.
Outdated? Yeah.
Oh, just got the chills. Hated that one. Anyways.
I'm trying to think of some other ones, but
let's see. I have a couple I could just read off.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the opposite view because I'm only 23 and
you're just a baby.
I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby. Anyways, oh, I hate that. Okay, so some BYU ones. The first one is, I actually love this hot take. Maybe too much, but BYU will win a Big 12 title before Utah does.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, especially if Utah moves conferences again.
Yeah, no, literally. They threw up it. I think Utah kind of dug themselves into a hole this last year. And yeah. I think it's hard because it was a lot of their fans, but also kind of just the playing and everything. They talked a big game and said that we were all out of their league. Like, this was going to be so dumb.
And we proved the opposite.
Yeah, they did terrible and just got demolished. So, like, they have kind of some quarterback issues, I agree. But there's a lot more to that than just a quarterback. And
yeah. It's not like a quarterback versus a defensive line. Like, there are other players.
Yeah, so I think they kind of dug themselves a hole, which is going to put a big damper on recruiting, which is tricky because, like, they had a lot of good opportunities with recruiting and stuff.
Yeah.
But I am very interested to see kind of how their recruiting goes with that. Interested to see some of the BYU. I'm kind of sad with some of the BYU players leaving. Kind of going back to the NIL. Some of our BYU players leaving for money, which annoys me because I'm like, really? Like, you almost were in the Big 12 title game. Like,
yeah, like, you literally one more year. I can, like, not to be that fan, but I could see.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think we have some good options for recruiting. It not quite as good as basketball, unfortunately. I wish they were both just A+++.
We did get a couple good recruits going on missions, but we did get a couple good recruits.
So in 2 years, we'll be
thriving.
Absolutely thriving. But yeah,
I kind of wanted to just the shout out thing just keeps on going because everyone listens to this. Yeah, what can we say? Also, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We actually have a lot of fun doing this, so hopefully
to viewers like you.
Thanks to viewers like you, our dreams can come true. Yeah, that was so cheesy. But the one that hurt a lot, football-wise, there were a couple, but he's back, so I'm like, I don't hold a grudge against him. But when Chase Roberts was, like, gonna declare for the draft or transfer,
which I think it would have been draft before transfer.
Yeah, I do know a lot of schools, like, were reaching out to him. Well, okay, that's from unofficial sources. But I was like, it hurt a little bit because I graduate next year. He graduates next year.
Or at least has one more year.
Oh, he has one more year of eligibility. There we go. And I was like, oh, like, kind of, like, finished where we started. Like, could have been fun. Have I met him? Yes. Does he know me? No. You know? And then Keelan Marion just transferred to Miami. Dude, some of my best memories from last season and the season before. I don't know how accurate that is. But a lot of my memories from last season, Keelan was in the play. And it just stung a little bit. Have I met him? No. Does he know who I am? Absolutely not. But he is a big role in my core memories from this last season. And it just felt a little personal. So even though he doesn't know me, it was like, Courtney, I hate you. I'm moving across the country. And I'm like, no. So that was kind of a personal attack, but he doesn't know that. The next take is that the Lavelle Edwards Stadium is the most underrated stadium atmosphere in college football.
I agree.
I think so too.
I'm also biased.
Same. But I feel like the other side, people would be like, oh, like, you can't get alcohol in LES. You're right. But you know what you can get? Chocolate milk and a cougar tail.
Yeah. I know everybody wishes they had cougar tails in their
Literally.
stadiums.
Who doesn't want that freakishly large maple donut?
Literally. Now it's blue.
Yes.
The blue ones.
Hopefully, okay, some of the flavors they've had. Obviously maple, classic. New, blue.
Chocolate.
And chocolate. They did a bacon maple bar.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't try that one, but I heard good reviews about it. And I feel like there was one... Oh, they did it. I think they did a pink one. For basketball?
Oh, I think you're right.
For maybe like breast cancer awareness or something?
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's not really a hot take. LES is very underrated. And it's like the most beautiful scenic, I guess. The mountains in the back. When you're looking one way, you're looking the other, you see the lake. What more could you ask for?
Exactly.
And Cosmo doing stunts? Slay.
Love Cosmo.
Kind of fun.
I think Cosmo is the greatest mascot in all of college, in the NCAA.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not that big of a hot take because everyone knows it. But
then people are saying, like, the Oregon freaking duck or whatever.
Like, I love my ducks, but he's not quite as cool. Like, before Cosmo started getting really cool.
Yes.
I could be like, oh, okay, yeah. But now I'm like, Cosmo's way better.
Do you think, I saw this hot take, do you think that mascots should be able to, let me just get it word for word from the source. Let's see. Mascots should be allowed to fight fans once per season.
Why not?
Little flavor to the game.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
Could be.
Who do you think would win? Who do you think the best mascot at fighting would be, and who do you think the worst mascot at fighting would be? And we'll keep it to I don't know. NCAA?
Best?
Yeah.
Cosmo, because he's probably one of the most underrated athletes.
No, literally.
In everything. Who would lose? One of the ones that just has a lot, like the duck, he doesn't have, like, he's kind of, they make him a little chunky.
Yeah. What's he gonna do? Make a TikTok about it?
Yeah.
His TikToks are kind of funny, though.
Yeah.
Hate to admit it.
We love him.
But I'll say it. I'll say the worst one. It pains me. But it's a freaking dog.
Georgia?
No. Tennessee.
Oh.
Their mascot is a dog. Smokey.
I was like, I feel like the Georgia dog's mascot low-key actually could throw hands.
Could cook.
Yeah.
It's a bulldog. But this one's Smokey. So cute. So tender. He's at every single game. I just don't see him being a lethal weapon. Oh. And it pains me to say that. But
I respect it.
If there was a mascot with a fly, that one would go.
True.
But anyways, that was just like a random little question. Is there any other hot takes that...
we might have to save some for another episode.
Yeah. I think that was good for this episode.
Yeah. If there are any hot takes that you're like, I would love to hear their thoughts on, feel free to submit them. Because why not? But I think that's it. Stay tuned. Next week, we think we're going to do kind of fun, a Would You Rather Sports Edition, where we just say a lot of talk about some Would You Rathers.
Keep your eye out on our social media, because we'll post a couple of those and share the results. What the committee decides, you're the committee. So keep an eye out on that, and it should be... I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. Bye.